Hey, thought leaders. This is the personalbranding.com podcast, and I'm your host, Dillon Kivo. Join us to learn how to build a legacy, boost your reputation, and make a lasting impact. Let's dive in. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the personalbranding.com podcast. Grab your coffee, sit down, because today we're talking about David and Goliath. And I promise you, this is not a Sunday school lesson. This is probably the most useful business framework hiding inside a story that you've heard thousands of times. So let me set the scene, because I think most people remember the story wrong. They remember as a little guy beats a big guy, right? Yeah, but that's not really what happened. What happened is way more interesting and way more useful if you're building something right now. So the Philistine army rolls up, and they've got this absolute unit of a human being named Goliath. We're talking ancient sources say he's like 9 feet tall, right? Whether or not that's literal, the point is this dude is terrifying. He's covered head to toe in bronze armor. He's got a spear the size of a fence post. And for 40 days, morning and evening, he walks out in front of the Israelite army and basically says, send somebody. Let's settle this one-on-one. And nobody moves for 40 days. Nobody. Now think about that in business terms for a second. How many times have you looked at the market, looked at the dominant player, and just been frozen, right? You see their funding, their team, their brand recognition, and you go, yeah, no, I'm good. I can't compete with that. That's what the entire Israelite army was doing. They were looking at Goliath and measuring themselves against him. And that was their mistake. Enter David. And here's the part people forget. David wasn't even supposed to be there. He was a kid, a shepherd. He was literally dropping off food for his older brothers who were soldiers. He's a delivery boy. And he overhears Goliath talking trash and he goes, wait, why is nobody doing anything about this? I freaking love that. Because that's exactly how most great businesses start. Not with some grand plan, not with an MBA thesis. Somebody walks into a situation and goes, this is broken. Why is nobody fixing this? And that's your Airbnb moment, right? That's your Stripe moment. That's your, I can't believe this is how it works moment. So David volunteers, and everyone thinks he has absolutely lost his mind. King Saul, the king, looks at him and basically says, dude, you're a kid. He's been a warrior since before you were born. And here's where the first real lesson kicks in. Saul tries to help. He puts on his armor, his own armor, actually. This is his own armor on David, his helmet, sword, and David puts it on and immediately takes it off. He says, I can't use this. I haven't tested it. This isn't mine. That's the lesson. Do not compete on your competitor's terms. Do not try to be a smaller, worse version of the giant. If you're a startup trying to out-enterprise Salesforce, you're wearing Saul's armor here. If you're a small creator trying to outproduce Mr. Beast, you're wearing Saul's armor. It doesn't fit you. It's heavy and it's going to slow you down. David takes the armor off and picks up what he knows, a sling and 5 smooth stones from a brook. Now, this is the important part. A sling in the ancient world was not like a toy. It wasn't like a kid's, slingshot that we used to use. Military slingers were devastating. The stones could travel at something like 100 miles per hour. In the right hands, it was basically a handgun. And David had been using one for years, defending sheep from lions and bears. That's the preparation piece. And I want to be honest here because I think the hustle culture version of the story just says, work hard and you'll beat the giant. That's not it. David didn't just work hard. He built a specific skill in a specific context over a long period of time. He didn't try to learn everything. He didn't diversify into a sword fighting, and chariot racing. He got insanely good at one thing. I think about this a lot with entrepreneurs I talk to. The ones who break through aren't usually ones, with the broadest skill set. They're the ones who got disproportionately good at one thing and one channel, one product angle and one audience. And they learned it
all the way. They just leaned into it. Okay, now it's go time. David walks out to face Goliath. No armor, no sword, just a sling and some stones. And this is what kills me. Absolute conviction. Goliath actually laughs at David. He is absolutely insulted. Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? And David doesn't flinch. He doesn't try to trash talk back. He doesn't, get rattled. He just stays locked in on what he came to do. And look, I've been in rooms where I felt completely out of my depth, pitching to people way more experienced than me, sitting across from someone whose company does, 100 times mine, right? And the temptation is always to shrink, to start qualifying everything you say. Well, we're still small, but, we're just getting started. But David didn't do that. He didn't apologize for being a shepherd. He didn't try to explain why a kid without armor deserved to be there. He just acted. One stone, one shot, boom, forehead, done. Goliath goes down. The Philistine army panics. The Israelites charge. The whole war shifts because one person refused to accept the framing that bigger means better. So what can we actually take from this? Let me give you 4 things. 1, stop wearing Saul's armor. Whatever your competitor's playbook is, stop trying to run it with fewer resources. Find your sling. Find the weapon that's native to you. For Warby Parker, it was direct to consumer when everyone else was locked into retail. For Tesla, it was starting with a premium sports car instead of trying to build a cheap sedan. They didn't play the existing game. They changed the game. The second point I want to give you, your weakness might be your edge. David being small meant he was fast. He was mobile. Goliath couldn't adjust. In business, being small means you can ship faster, pivot faster, talk to customers directly, and make decisions in minutes instead of months. That's not a disadvantage. That is a superpower, but only if you use it. The third thing is boring preparation is the whole game. Nobody talks about the years David spent alone in fields with sheep. That's not a sexy story, right? But without those years, the sling doesn't work. Without those years, the stone doesn't find its target. Your equivalent is the late nights learning your craft, the sales calls that go nowhere, the product iterations nobody sees. That's not wasted time. That is the time. And fourth, the last thing I want to leave you is confidence isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing which reality to focus on. David could see that Goliath was huge, obviously. He wasn't delusional, but he chose to focus on what he could do rather than what Goliath could do. And when you're building something, that reframe is everything. Yes, the competitor is bigger. Yes, the market is tough. You might fail a couple times. Now, what can you do about it right now, today, with what you have? Here's the thing I keep thinking about. After David won, nobody remembered that he was a shepherd. Nobody remembered that he was the youngest brother, the delivery boy, the one that nobody expected anything from. They just remembered that he showed up, he swung, and the giant fell. Your market doesn't care about your pedigree. Your customers don't care how many employees you have or how much funding you raised. They care about whether you solve their problem. That is it. So if you're sitting there right now, staring at your own Goliath, whether it's a massive competitor, a market that seems impossible, or honestly, the fear that you're just not enough, I want you to think about what's already in your hand. What skill have you built? What do you see that nobody else sees? What's your sling? Find it, pick it up, and take the shot. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me on the personalbranding.com podcast. If this hit home for you, share it with somebody else who may need to hear this message, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Take care and God bless.
Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear from all of you. Follow and connect with me on all of your favorite social media platforms at Dillon Kivo, DILLONKI, V as in Victor, O. And until next time, keep building your brand and stay golden.